This conference will now be recorded.
5, 6, 7, 6, 3, 2.
taxes within the second-year period.
And I guess my question to you would be, do you feel like more development is something that would be a substitute to increased taxes? Yes, although it's got to be
as to how you expand the tax base in South Whitehall Township. The item that you mentioned, I mentioned it before, is called tax increment financing. That was used, in essence, there were a large area of farmland out in the western part of the county that could not be developed because the access road off of 78 was inadequate and the bridge was width and height obsolete. So those had to be changed, and the state was unwilling to, it was on their plan, it was 10 years down the road. By using tax increment financing, we were able to get the project done, get the ramp changed, get the bridge widened, and the height increased. And through that, then that farmland was able to be developed into an industrial area, which again, expanded the tax base both for Northwestern Lehigh School District primarily, but also for Lehigh County. And again, I think we should look for opportunities like that in South Whitehall Township.
Thank you.
I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. Transparency is something that gets talked about often, communication between the township and the citizens. What would you do if you were able to fill out the remainder of this term to involve residents more in the decision-making process?
I am a firm believer of doing everything in public and public where it is accessible by not only those like my friend Ben who show up, but those that are watching or want to watch over the internet. One of the things that I mentioned it in my letter, application letter, one of the things that I'm particularly proud of during my time on the Board of Commissioners in Lehigh County was I was instrumental, I was the driving force behind the approach of using, recording commissioner meetings and making them available over the internet for folks to watch. You can go back to and watch any commissioner meeting that you want from the fall of 2010 and forward. They're online, just spoke on it and watch. There's some great shows if you have nothing to do or can't go to sleep some night, or nerds that you go on.
When I left the Board of Commissioners, the folks that came after me expanded that approach, that they do all committee meetings downstairs in the public hearing room. So now all committee meetings of the Board of Commissioners are recorded and available over the internet. That, I think, is something that should be done in South Whitehall County. That any meeting of the Board of Commissioners, whether it's a committee or you call it a workshop or a full commissioner meeting, should be recorded and available over the internet.
Thank you. Back to the financial question, this is a little bit different. With some COVID grant relief money going to be allocated to South Whitehall Township next year or so. Hypothetically, if you were in a position to allocate some of that money, there's no strings attached. What you know about the township from your experience being a long-time resident, what you spoke about with taxes and growth, what type of things would you like to see that money invested in?
Well, I'm hesitant to answer that for two reasons. Number one, I don't know what the restrictions are that are going to be coming with the money. It's my understanding that since it is quote COVID relief, that somehow some way, shape, or form, spending has to be related to COVID, although there's probably a lot of leeway in that. So that's one concern. The second concern I would be on spending money on something that once the money is gone, you're stuck with spending. And I'll use an example back of the beginning part of the last decade. We had stimulus money from President Obama that was funneled to Pennsylvania that was used to fund for school funding. When that funding dried up, taxes were used to make up the shortfall. So everybody was running around saying, oh my God, we cut spending for schools. When the fact of the matter is, in reality, we had not. The baseline was still the same before that stimulus money had come forward. I know I'm not giving you a direct answer, but again, without knowing specifics that are tied to the money and what items that we're looking at spending, I have.
If you would just elaborate on require further spending, you're saying that it shouldn't have further tax implications once the money is gone.
Right, for example, let's say we use the money to hire, just for argument's sake, 3 more accountants. What happens when the money goes? What do you do with those 3 accountants? Presumably they made themselves available or are doing work that is needed. What do you do once the money's gone? You get rid of them, or you have to find additional spending to cover this out? Yeah, that's just one example, small example.
All right. Let me bring it down to a little bit softer level here. So,
I thought that was so.
the might be really soft. So, my question to you is, as you know, being involved in different groups and agencies and commissions and boards and involved, teamwork is a very important aspect of that. So, how do you see teamwork? How do you see yourself as a part of the team, and how do you see the team involved?
I've been in a number of situations where I've had to rely on others. I certainly have firm beliefs, and I believe what I think is right, but I've been in situations where I've had to rely on others to accomplish the goals and objectives that I laid out. Whether it's on the Board of Commissioners, which was a 5-4 split, and the Democratic County Executive. I mentioned that I worked with the county to achieve what I thought was an important policy goal in changing how we compensated employees. That's one example. I'm involved with a number of nonprofits. My wife and I have our breed of dog is a German Shepherd Pointer. It's a bird dog. I've been treasurer of that organization for 20 years. It's a volunteer organization, 12-member board. So you have to be able to work and accommodate others' viewpoints and convince them of the logic of your position to get them to move forward to do what you want to do. Or conversely, listen to them, and if they're right, change your position.
So, second piece to my question is, if you were to be, have the opportunity to be a commissioner, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
I would like to leave behind a legacy that we have a solid financial footing. We were able to fulfill the expectations of the citizens of South Whitehall Township, maintain the quality of life that we've all experienced, that I've experienced in the past 33 years, that we're able to do that without raising taxes and be able to do that in a way that is transparent to them. So that if the situation does occur, that taxes need to be raised, that they understand the rationale for it, that we have been transparent enough in our process, in our deliberations, of allowing the public to view that so that they will accept the decisions that we reach.
Okay, you mentioned you weren't finished when my time ended, so I'd like to let you finish, but I'd also like to let you know I'd like to go on to a few other questions.
Okay. Again, just very, very briefly, I don't want to keep the audit issue to death, but I outlined why I think that's important. You asked what could be done to make sure that it's finished. Again, to me, I'm not aware of what type of engagement letter we have with the auditor. Certainly, in my opinion, the engagement letter with the auditor should specify an end date for completion. And quite frankly, in my opinion, there should be performance components of the agreement that if the audit's not finished by next date, that the compensation is less. Again, I don't know what's in place. You may already have the system set up. You may have already signed the agreement with them, but those would be my suggestions on how to expedite and make sure that the audit is not in time. But that's one for example. You know, I could find the same right now if it's not a specific date. Not.
Okay. Switching gears. So you talked about this pretty much from a financial standpoint. We have a comprehensive plan that's been updated, and in order to make any changes that are, in the comp plan, we have to make some changes. So, the president for a long time. What zoning changes would you like to say? I mean, just you as a resident, as a potential board member, what would you see as directionally, what type of zoning changes would you like?
Well, again, I have to confess my ignorance on the process by zoning changes, whether that is within the purview of the township commissioners or that is something that has to be done at the state level. Assuming for argument's sake that it is within the purview of township commissioners, I would like to see some movement away from what I would call large-scale residential development. I'm not, again, looking at it from 30,000 feet, I'm not quite sure that the standard tax base that you get from that development, taking a piece of farmland to now a large residential development, I'm not sure that the additional tax revenue that you get compensates for the additional costs and services that you have to be provided to those residents. Again, that's my ignorance of the zoning process. If it is something that has to be done at at the state level, then I think that that's an opportunity for us as commissioners to work to have that accomplished, assuming that's the objective and goal of the majority of the board of commissioners.
Right.
And just because somebody says, well, that's what the state says and you have to live with it, I've got experience that says you can change that if you put your mind to it. For example, how many of y'all like to go to Coca-Cola Park? Coca-Cola Park was instituted by basically 10 individuals, 9 commissioners, and the county executive in Lehigh County. Within the project to develop Coca-Cola Park, there is a component of that $23 million that is taxable financing that the taxpaying public in Lehigh County is directly responsible for. So in other words, if the iron pigs decide to move or they go out of coal, taxpayers in Lehigh County are responsible for that. And Coca-Cola Park, even though we enjoy it, really primarily benefits 2 individuals, the owners of the iron pigs. I didn't think that it was reasonable or responsible for the county executive and the majority of the board of commissioners to make that decision. I wanted to change our home rule charter that would require any future projects like that require financing to come before the public before they would be go forward. I was told, no, you can't do that because Pennsylvania has a uniform debt act that controls everything that's done. You can't change it. So I took it upon myself to work with the local state rep, Justin Simmons. It took a 2.5-year process to go through to have a bill passed in Harrisburg that changed the Pennsylvania Uniform Debt Act, making an exception for home rule charter counties to allow them to have a referendum on future bond issues at that time. That required a change in the home rule charter. That was enacted, I believe, in the 2013 and passed 75-25. So again, I go through that story to say that if something requires an action at the state level, we shouldn't say no.
Okay. Yeah, so just the board has accountability and authority over these.
Again, thank you so very much for the time here today. So for the last 5 minutes, we've dedicated to if you have any questions for anybody.
No, I think we've gone over a bit over the time. I know that.
Well, we have a technical difficulty.
No, I really don't want to take any more of your time tonight, other than express my thanks for you taking time out of your schedule and this beautiful spring afternoon to come in here. At least you didn't have to wear coats and ties, so that is a plus. I could not be selected. I would look tremendously forward to working with each of you to further the objectives of South Whitehall County. Keep it the place that my wife and I love and have loved for 33 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today, Tom.
This conference will now be recorded.
We're on.
Okay, we're on.
Ben, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. So just real quick, some logistics. So the commissioners all picked a number that determines the order for our questions this evening. So each commissioner is going to ask a question, and the question and the answer are for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So Renee will let us know when the 5-minute time frame has been reached, and then we'll move to the next commissioner. This gives us the opportunity to ask at least 2 questions by each commissioner, and then we'll take the last 5 minutes for the questions that you may have about. So to get things started, I'm going to ask the Commissioner Kelly.
I'm going to thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to go out for another event. Thank you for providing that to us. I'm going to start tonight on an activity. So I saw that you are a managing partner in local business. So I just wanted to elaborate what you usually would be top pressing concerns to the business community in South Carolina.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for this opportunity of discussion, and I look forward to answering the questions best of my ability. In regards to my role, yeah, so I recently actually went full-time in my family's business. Previously that, I was in a management capacity in a local healthcare facility, and so decided to make this switch, and it's been a dream come true. And so, but having grown up in that environment, my dad has been a business owner, entrepreneur for his whole life. I started his business after high school, locally. I went to Parkland High School and started a business. And so, growing up, I got a great amount of exposure to the needs, the concerns of our businesses face. And actually, the business was headquartered in Whitehall Township, purchased the property, which still stands, still we still own in real estate today, in the early 80s. And so, quite honestly, Whitehall Township wasn't always that easy to work with. I think a lot of things are changing for the better, but I think we most certainly have ways to go. And so, it would be my desire to be an advocate for the business community, small, medium, large size, whether it's one employee or 100 employees, the principles remain the same. And so it would be my desire to, as a commissioner, work with businesses, understand the challenges they face, and see what we can do to ensure businesses are aware that South Whitehall Township is open for business. More businesses that want to move here, the better. And as I said, I think we're most certainly moving in a positive direction and working with business owners as opposed to penalizing and working with them and helping them understand. That would be my desire to do that.
Okay, so just to summarize, could you elaborate on some of the concerns that you feel from a business perspective that your own businesses may be facing?
Yeah, I mean, just not, obviously not just my own business, but I know there's been many conversations I've had with business owners that there was concerns about wanting to move to South Whitehall Township because of the many, I would say, in essence, overburdened some regulations that they face and the requirements that were placed upon them for occupancy. And I think obviously as a township, we want to, there are certain expectations that we want to have. We obviously want businesses to understand that, but at the same time, the reality is without businesses in the community, we don't have the tax base. So there's many businesses who have felt the burden of having to go before board after board in South Whitehall for some very simplistic things that I think was overly burdensome to them. And this is, I mean, no disrespect to previous administrations who came before, but I think unfortunately there was just a bit of a disconnect. And like I said, I wanted South Whitehall Township to be known throughout the Lehigh Valley and beyond as a community.
Thank you. And I guess tied to that as well, I know that tax to you feel that's a positive for our businesses.
I just don't. I don't have enough. I'm not able to answer that question.
So I want to move over to involving our residents. You spoke an awful lot in your letter of interest about residents, and I'm just curious, maybe like to strive to involve them in our decision-making process in the township. What steps would you propose to be taken to increase that and make more of a welcoming situation and have more connection between the township and the residents from a government standpoint?
Right, and hopefully I made it as clear as I could. I was not suggesting that there's not an ability for township residents to make their voices heard. There's most certainly plenty of opportunity to do so. It's my desire to be a voice for those. It's my desire to be a voice for those in the community. It's not that they don't have a voice, but their main focus and primary focus is on the things in life that do matter. Whether they're taking their kids to soccer practice or a youth group, or just ensuring that they're doing what they need to do to put food on the table. Their main concerns are not coming to township government meetings, and I don't know that there's a whole lot more that we can do to encourage that. I think I simply want to be an advocate for those people that their voices just are not being known. And there's a lot of people, there are thousands upon thousands who love this community. We want to move here, and so I wanted to make sure that their voices are heard, and that those that feel it, this is a great place to live, their voices are heard as well. Not that we can't improve, we should always be improving. There's no such thing as being stagnant, but at the end of the day, I want to represent those people.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Sutton.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I have to say, I admire you, but nothing to do.
And sorry for my glasses are fogging up. Sorry.
In the letter to the township, we have mentioned, we highlight more of the benefits and the good parts of positive aspects of Southwest Township. So my question to you is, what is it that we are not highlighting, that we should highlight?
I mean, I think there's been a lot of focus in the media, and no disrespect to the media, they have a job to do too. But there's been a lot of focus on, the elephant in the room and some of the things that took place over the past couple of years with development. And I think there's not been enough emphasis on the fact of the matter is what's the alternative. The reality is growth is good. There are many communities in Lehigh Valley and throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who would love to have an ounce of growth that the township has experienced over the past decade, and that's going to continue to experience. And so I just think there's so many good things about this township, not just the fact, but if you look at the township as a whole, from the time I grew up here, from the time that I grew up here to where I am now, in my role and my capacity working in family business, I see a lot of different customers, a lot of residents of this township, and the reality is that we're changing. Demographics are changing. There's most certainly younger generations. There's a whole host of different races, ethnicities, people from all different backgrounds, and I think that's a good thing. I personally, I know I have a lot to learn about people, and I love learning about people. And you just, beyond that, you look at what we have to offer as a township. And I don't know who's been recently to the upgrades at Weird Park, but I was just there a couple weeks ago to take note of what happened. It was awesome to see the improvements that are taking place. And I went because my nieces and nephews who also live here in the township. My parents took them and they loved it. They loved it. So I wanted to see what it's all about, and you can't help but smile and see when you see the faces of these kids and just the different people from all walks of life there enjoying all that we have to offer in this township. So hopefully that wasn't too long and drawn out. The point of what I'm trying to say is that this is a great place. And I think I want to highlight that.
So we all disagree with you that it's a great place to be. There's no question about it. I agree with you. The playground with the race down is magnificent. The playground was there. I also agree with you that development and growth is inevitable. It will continue for as long as we live and beyond. But in your current work, which has to do with water and environment, I'm just curious to find out what you think of the future development, about the quality of Southwest Township water, and what other environmental issues that you think are or some of your concerns.
Yeah, so the reality is in my line of work, there's most certainly no shortage of work in Southwest Township. The reality is not that there's harmful water quality. The water in Southwest LCA, very hard water, high amounts of chlorine. And that's the reality for many municipalities beyond Southwest Township. So it most certainly keeps us busy providing that service to folks. And so
what adding chlorine to the water?
yeah, they added chlorine to water, so they kill bacteria, which is a good thing. The water is drinkable. But as a result of that, chlorine being present in the water isn't necessarily, so we have most certainly have systems to obviously take care of that. But point being, water quality is not harmful anyway. It's just due to this being limestone area, calcium, seeping into the water supply over the years. Just very hard water and large amounts of chlorine. So I obviously, assuming those people in this room are residents of South Whitehall, obviously, probably experience that.
Any other environmental issues that you might?
In terms of water quality, no.
Whether it's stormwater, other.
No, nothing I can provide at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wall?
Okay. In your letter, you highlighted a lot of information about Whitehall, a lot really positive. I'd like to give you the opportunity to name something very specific, which is an improvement need, and explicitly what you would do to try to manage to do that.
As far as improvement, like what do you mean by that? As far as what the community itself, what we need to do to improve?
It could be anything. Anything, if there's a current state in the township that needs improvement, what is that thing? It's wide open. And then what would you do to try to improve it to a future state?
You know, to be honest, it's not as though I don't feel as though coming into this role, there's a whole lot of things that I need to come in and solve. At the end of the day, my reason for applying, not looking for a job, not looking for a problem solved. I simply want to serve. I want to be consensus builder and ultimately work with the four of you here tonight on a variety of issues to ensure that we're getting things done for the township. Overall, like I said, I love it. If you were to poll residents of the township, ordinary citizens not paying attention to what happens at township government, the reality is there's a lot that don't. And they would say that there's so many good things about living here, from the school system, home values, park system, the many walkable communities, the growth that we're seeing, the diversity. At the end of the day, I don't know that there's a whole lot of improvement. I think certainly we can always improve moving forward. I'm not able to provide a whole lot of specifics, to you today.
Okay. I have a question about the zoning change that was made in 2014. As part of the previous comp plan, so there were large properties that received something called an overlay district. And that's where we're seeing the current large development, some would say unprecedented amount of development. These four developments total like 2,000 dwellings in a fairly small area, a lot around the whole area. So there's some thoughts about whether it should continue, because we're updating the comp plan. So we want to continue that level of development, or whether it might be reduced in some fashion. There's a lot of acreage still left in the township, and there's a 10-year horizon. So I wonder what your viewpoint is. I know you commented to the development. I share that with you. But what's the right level?
That's not for me to decide. At the end of the day, it's not based on my opinion whether or not I think there should be development, should be development. I feel my opinion is relevant. And we have to work within state law, we have to work within zoning, and work within the confines of what that state. And so, again, I would rather side on, whether you're working with businesses, working with developers, I would rather side on working with developers, working with businesses to ensure that this is a desirable community. And so again, I don't really see that my opinion is relevant as to whether or not I agree or disagree with the decision in 2014.
We will be making zoning changes. It's not by the end of the year, and it's, in the early part of next year. That's why we asked the question. Let's see. Could you tell us what are the BOC? What's the Board of Commissioners accountability?
As far as the role,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty simple. The role of the Board of Commissioners is governance, not operations. And, I think in my experience, though I don't know if I'm going to be applicant, I don't know if it matters, but though in my experience, I've had a lot of experience about exposed to things, management opportunities, serving on boards and commissions. Before my time, I had a lot of key opportunities. Just recently, I served as chairman of a local nonprofit organization, much smaller budget than the budget of South Whitehall Township, principles are the same. When I come in as a board commissioner, or excuse me, as a board member, there was a great mistrust between the board and the director, and as such, the finances struggled. And so it was my desire to ensure that there was a sense of structure and stability that took place. And so what happened was we ended up making a change in leadership. But we made very clear distinctions that it was not my job as a board member to go into the nonprofit center every day and check out and see what's going on. We hired executive director to oversee operations. Our job was to obviously ensure that the director was carrying out on our financial objectives and our overall mission as an organization, but operations was not within our purview. And I think the same principle should apply for the commissioners that, again, at the end of the day, when it comes to budget, and finances, but when it comes to the day-to-day operations, we hire a township manager, and it's, we need to entrust a lot of responsibility to that person and hopefully have a good working relationship.
So if the board has responsibility for governance, what's included in governance?
What's included in governance? Different things. But at the end of the day, the budget obviously being a big component of that. And ensuring that revenues, meeting expenses and everything to do about that. At the end of the day, also, there's a lot of pass down. The state has certain mandates and regulations that the township needs to adhere to, like it or not. And so there's certain things that you can and cannot do. And then, so, hopefully
Okay, thank you.
All right. Ben, my question to you kind of comes off Commissioner Wolf. And you talked about the role of a commissioner and it being a role of government, not operational decisions. Do you see it to be important, and if so, why? To be also as in that role of governance to be a visionary, looking to the future of the town. And if so, how so? How
good question. So, at the end of the day, I think in the board, of course, you're going to have a wide view of perspectives. You're going to have different personalities. For me, I'm definitely more the big picture person. I'm more the visionary. I'm not the engineer mindset that's going to line by line analyze everything and ask very, those type of analytical questions. I think there's obviously a place for that. But it's my view, obviously, that as a board member, that you set the tone for the future of this township, ensuring that we're moving in a positive direction, and we're obviously taking steps forward. As I mentioned earlier, the reality is, South Whitehall is changing. Things are changing at a rapid pace, and I want to ensure that the township is setting the tone for obviously those within this township, but of course surrounding communities, the surrounding areas, and so that when people look at South Whitehall Township on a map, they're looking at Allentown. When they know about South Whitehall Township, they hear about South Whitehall Township, they say, "Wow, those people, they're really, they're moving to shakers. Those people looking forward to what we can do to the most desirable community to live." For instance, the reality is different generations are going to have different desires in terms of where they want to live and how they're going to want to build that living. So it's my understanding that there's been some push within township to ensure that communities are livable, walkable. There's different ability to basically you don't have to leave your home too much because you have some other things around you. And people from my generation are looking for those types of things. And so we want to be obviously a desirable location for people to live. And so just from a macro perspective, big picture, again, being a visionary, I think, means we're looking ahead, being willing to take chances, be bold, and set the tone for years to come.
Thank you. So I think this question was asked, and we all asked it in a little bit different way. So what do you believe is the most unique quality of South Whitehall Township? And what would you do to preserve that quality so that future generations can enjoy it as well?
There's probably different totally different approaches, I think with that, but as far as the most unique quality, I think, of South Whitehall Township, hopefully, as it may sound, is people. And I hope that doesn't sound as overly idealistic, but the reality is, again, there's a great, an awesome shift that's taking place in the township that we're on. We're changing overall, and for me, there's just all different walks of life, there's different generations, there's different cultures, and I think obviously being able to take the best of all this and learn from it, and again, as I said, I think it's that way for a reason. When people see South Whitehall, I think it's a great place to live. It's a mix between city and suburb, and it's close to everything, and so it is a good desirable location. So to me, being there, I think the greatest asset that we have, is our people, and the people of this township.
To keep that diversity, of people that you mentioned as the most important and unique quality, what would you do to ensure that balance moving forward?
Again, as things happen, life happens, we're going to continue to grow. And so, again, from a township level, working to ensure that the communities that are growing in a organic, natural way, but it is in a way that people want to see this as a destination that they want to reside.
Thank you, John. I think we go back to Ken. Thank you. So then, just reviewing your professional experience, could you describe for us one of the greatest accomplishments in your professional career, and how did that experience or accomplishment prepare you to consider a position for commissioner?
Sure. So as I said, I've had exposure to some pretty unique experiences from that commission. So under this year, I was approached by the president of a local healthcare organization and asked me to come on board and translate as an administrator. Having zero experience as what an administrator did, obviously for me it was awesome, and he considered me to take on that role. So from day one, obviously I knew I had a lot to learn, a lot to prove, and so I didn't come in calculating. It was my desire to take it all in, understand the culture, and understand how I can contribute. And so organically over time, I grew in my leadership capacity, and I was a manager, and there was people reporting to me that could have been my mother, in fact, probably my grandmother. And so that was challenging going into that. And I think my biggest accomplishment was proving to them that I wanted them to be successful. And so by the time I left, I don't know if they were crying because of the video, but one took the department responsible for it. She said, our department, for the first time, we felt like we mattered. And I didn't do that because I was the most experienced manager we've ever had. I didn't do that because I was the best. I did that simply because I showed up and I did it. And I actually took a vested interest in what the interest were. And so my job was to be a liaison between them and upper management, so middle level manager. So the answer to your question, my biggest accomplishment was listening to what they had to say, taking it and actually getting things done. So, in terms of like for budget time, and then talking about the position that they wanted, that they haven't been yet, they didn't get them yet. I felt responsible to them to ensure that I found that position for them. Not because I was the most talented, because I showed that I actually cared about them, and I took the initiative and took the next step to ensure that took place. And so that management role taught me a ton, and which has positively contributed to being able to run the family business and take that to the next level. And I'm so grateful for those years that I had working in that capacity, because I feel like I did make a difference. And that was great as I did, but just simply because I gave my all, I was true to my word, and I'm sure about this success.
Very good. And just a follow-up to that, this position that we're appointing for is basically 7 months to the end of the year. If you were to be selected, looking down the road, what would you hope to accomplish?
7 months is a very short amount of period of time, and so it most certainly would be balance that I wanted. I was want to contribute that way. Obviously, want to be a benefit, and but at the same time, they also recognize that there's so much that about the dynamics. There's so so much I wanted to learn about Township, and, with my desire, obviously, I'm a huge believer in changing them, so I want to work with Renee and kind of understand, what her role is and what she's responsible for. Obviously, doing a lot of listening, my dad and I are two very different people, and we make the team in that regard. But one of the things that my dad has been on part-time school board for 2 terms, and I remember near the end of his term, actually, I was still in high school, I was meeting with one of the administrators, and they told me, I said, one thing about your dad is that he doesn't speak a lot, but when he does, people listen. And so I'll never forget that, because you're talking a lot about, I don't want to just talk to see myself question, just ask a question. At the end of the day, I'm not doing this for my ego. At the end of the day, I'm not doing this for my I want to. And so I recognize that 7 months is a short amount of time, and it doesn't mean that decisions are still going to need to be made. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm not coming in guns blazing. I'm coming in to understand, seek to understand, to be, coalition builder, and ultimately still get things done, but understand what we can do to move things forward. And those 7 months will be gone before we know it, but I will do whatever I can to contribute.
Thank you. How much time?
But first, I want to tell you that I share you with what you mentioned about the growth of people that are coming to the country, religions, ethnicity, and so on and so forth. And I do believe that's a very good thing. I don't know if you know, but there is some COVID-19 grant that is coming to the country. And it's a pretty large amount of money, I believe, it would go to $1 million. The question to you would be, is how do you feel it should be distributed, whether it should be kind of who should take priority, whether it should be distributed to businesses, to kind of people that have some hardship, or maybe even considered an organization centered to get all our citizens coming next. What is your thought on that?
So I would say I need to get more specifics in terms of the dollar amount, how that's intended to be distributed. I understood that obviously that money is coming. There's no doubt that we've all in some shape or form been affected by COVID-19. There's no way to ignore that fact. As to specifically, I want to hear what the suggestions would be, and hopefully make the best decision.
Do you have any suggestions of your own?
I have to give that some more consideration in terms of what those dollars should best be spent. There's no question that this community has certainly been affected greatly from the pandemic. Some obviously more than others. Very fortunately, position that our business has been in, we've not been affected. In fact, business has increased as a result of, not as a result of, since COVID has hit. I recognize that now business has been in that same position, specifically retail. So I have to get more information. I think that's a great thing, but I have to hear what suggestions would be from there.
Okay, thanks. It's a Pennsylvania statutory requirement that audits be completed annually. For 10 years, although work is in progress to do so. What's your viewpoint about this situation, and what would you do to ensure audits are completed on schedule, even in a short time frame?
For me, to give an answer that would, I don't have enough information to know as to what the circumstances were. But I can tell you from a business standpoint, if I learn anything in my life, is that it's very easy to, from an outsider's perspective, criticize and say, this is what should happen, this is what shouldn't happen. And then in what small leadership roles I've been exposed to, you begin to recognize that not everything is as it seems, and there's other dynamics at play. And so, again, I would want to seek understanding. Obviously, I think it's an important thing. Obviously, for transparency's sake, and I am a huge believer in financial stewardship and accountability. You can't be in business without being interested in financial stewardship. My role capacities, previously being in business and management capacities, and of course nonprofits. I'm a huge believer in that, 100%. But with this specific situation, I don't know enough about why or why not this took place, and it's not. I'm not going to blast people, and say this. You should have done this. I don't know the dynamics.
Okay. I want to ask a wider question. What's your view about supplemental public safety? And you can go anywhere with that.
What's my view of public safety? I mean, I'm a strong supporter of police department and that. I believe strongly in the fact that we have great services that are provided throughout the township. Many great people involved in the process, and I want to do everything I could to the commissioner's support that.
Okay, thank you. With our comp plan and, talk a little bit about zoning before, on the development side, on the preservation side. So our township right now has 0 agricultural zoning, and we don't have any agricultural farmland reserve. What's your view on that? I mean, are you an advocate? You spoke about development, but are you an advocate for preservation? What type of preservation?
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I actually come from a long line of farmers in Whitehall. So my dad grew up on a dairy farm, California dairy farm up in Township. It no longer is a farm today. My great grandfather going on back throughout the community. And so the reality is I would want to empower landowners, farmers to make those decisions. Whether they want to preserve or pass off to their children, or whether they want to sell is their problem.
Okay. All right, I think I'm done.
All right. So then, if you were fortunate to be chosen, what legacy would you like to leave behind? Now, 7 months is a short time. We already talked about that. But what would you want to look back on and say, I'm proud of this?
Yeah, to your point, obviously 7 months is a short amount of time. At the same time, it's been my goal throughout my life, in my private life, in my public life, and work life, to be consistent and to be the man that I feel I was called to be. Where at the end of the day, I know that I was true to myself, I was true to my word, and I was true to my values, my faith, and those are the things that to me are long lasting beyond being a township commissioner. At the end of the day, there's no disrespect to anyone here. But years from now, will people remember that you're a township commissioner? Probably not. But they may remember the things that you did as a person, and the way you impacted people, and so the way you lived out to who you said you were. And so I would hope that people, when they hear the name Ben Long, far from perfect, obviously he wanted to get better. I hope that they would say that Ben Long was true to who he was. And he was authentic, and he so hopefully that will be the thing that's thought about when at the end of all this. Because one day all this will land, and those things in life that are much more important. And again, there's no disrespect to this at all. It's important. It's obviously it's needed. We need people to be advocates, taxpayers, and all that. But if COVID-19 taught us anything, is that life's short, and there's some things in life that don't really recognize that much. And so I'd rather do for things that have greater purpose, greater eternal value, and apply that throughout my life.
Part of the vision.
I hope so.
So, my question to you is, and I'm sure you're dealing with another board or commission, or groups that got involved in that you had mentioned. being a team player is very, very important. And sometimes you have a lot of different dynamics going on in your team. How do you see yourself as a team player, and what do you do to do what you can to bring the most positive aspect or positive vision out of it?
For me, as I alluded to earlier, there's certain things that I know are not my strengths and never will be. Doesn't mean you can't work to improve that, but I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at. And so I want to contribute in a way that is understood, as you said. Every person has a part. So where I believe my strength and giftedness lie in terms of people and coalition building and management skills, understanding businesses and financial accountability, all those things I want to add to it. But I recognize that there's 5 people that are 4 other people that you need to work with, and there's other dynamics at play, and there's the employees, and there's management, and there's a lot of different dynamics. So for me to come in with some sort of agenda to say this is what I want to accomplish and this is my end game, politically speaking, I don't have an end game. The beauty of being in business and having my goals in mind for my life, my business, my family is that again, it's not as though I won't take this seriously, but it's not as though this is my everything. And so I would want to immediately come in, again, listen, seek to understand, and benefit where I can, and where I recognize my giftedness is not. I'm not going to come in and make all these suggestions and changes, but that's what you got. And so again, I want to listen, work together, because like a body, every part of the body has a unique purpose. And so hopefully I can contribute in a way that moves us forward. And again, focusing, if I haven't said this enough, I'll say it again, emphasizing many positives, because I think good attitudes breed good attitudes, and vice versa. Bad attitudes breed bad attitudes. And I saw that in my role previously in healthcare administration. And so it was my goal for everyone to be consistent with who I was. Hopefully that affects those around me in a positive way. And so again, working to build a coalition, people recognizing that we all have our strengths, we all have our giftedness, and seek to benefit. Ultimately, this is bigger than us. Benefit the people we're to represent.
Thank you. So Ben, first of all, I want to thank you very, very much for being here today. And so we're going to take the last 5 minutes for any questions you might have at any of us.
Good. I apologize if these glasses are just not working.
No, don't worry, the mask.
So I can't really see that good, but I know you're doing but as far as, first of all, again, thank you for having me, to all of you, regardless of the overall political party or philosophy. The fact of the matter is you stepped up and you took on just that no one else would. A lot of other people wouldn't have courage to do so. Kudos to all of you for wanting to step up and serve your community, and you deserve a lot of credit. Public service is most certainly calling. Seen that in my dad and those that are close to me who've taken that call. So thank you for doing that, and of course taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here. I guess the only question I have is if you were to look back on your experiences, some of you obviously not known the board as long as others, but if you look back on your experiences and provide a singular piece of advice to an incoming commissioner that's new, what would that be?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm probably the
10 years, most 10 years.
Almost 10, yeah. So, and I think I have said this, to be a good listener. Things aren't always as they seem, and there's a lot of information, a lot of sides to the story, and you need to digest all of them before making any decisions. And it's okay to just sit back and take it on and digest it and understand it and learn it before making a statement or making a petition on something. People respect that. So that's always been my suggestion, is because it's part of this, and part of being a commissioner is really it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve every day. I've been in I'm still learning things all the time. So it's all about being a good listener and you know, looking at all the different perspectives. So that would be my
I'll pretty much say everything, but it's always listening is the primary thing we do before you make a decision. Put together.
Good question, then I would say, you know, Commissioner certainly is a volunteer. Really is truly, standing in the gap for the community that we are represented. It certainly is important, as the Commissioner has said, that certainly, because it is a legislative position, it's done by state law, so there's certainly a tension between things you want to do and things that the law dictates. So there's a lot of learning and checking to understand what you're learning about what you can.
We need to work together as a team, and we all need to be open-minded to other people's ideas. You know, being very regimented and close-minded.
Anything else, Pat?
I don't think so.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being here tonight on this beautiful evening.
This conference will now be recorded.
So the way we set up the interviews is, first of all, thanks for being here tonight. And the way we set up the interviews this evening is 35-minute interview, and all of us are public and and that determines the order of our questions. So each commissioner will have 5 minutes, that will include them asking their question and you giving your answer. 5 minutes, so we'll have the opportunity to go through each of the commissioners 2 times. So each commissioner will have 2 questions. At the very end of the interview, there'll be 5 minutes left, and that will be an opportunity for you to ask any questions about. All right. So, without further ado, we have Commissioner Beckman first this evening.
Mark, first of all, thank you very much for coming to the appreciate that, and thank you for reaching out to serve the community. Very grateful for that. You are currently in the zoning and I guess you're also aware that we're going through a comprehensive township zoning. My question would be, do you think that the way that we are studying and going through that comprehensive is the right way to do it, or is there any other other way that could be improved?
I don't know if it's a right or a hard wrong. I mean, any concept's a little different. You kind of have different goals. Every concept is different. Constituencies demands different things. Somebody knows they're going to do something. This township is a little more aware. I would say citizens are a little more aware of what's going on. So
reaching out to the public and having them.
yeah, I think that's going to be a part of this probably scenario in this case. Like I said, there's some countries out there that do it. If it's done, it'll be everything different. Especially more
Any participation of the public.
I'm saying it's in this case, it's probably justified to have some public input. It can slow some things down, I mean, honestly. We try to get those things done in a timely manner, and sometimes they're just doing things quickly. You can slow them down, but if you try to that be off the public.
In your professional experience, you associate yourself a lot with different townships, and you with an engineering company that you run. You go into different townships, whether it is for the zoning, for
townships in between Lehigh County, North Lincoln County, Carbon County, Monroe County. Everybody's a little different. Obviously, up in Carbon and Monroe, I'd say they're a little behind yet where we are down here in Lehigh and North Lincoln. We're probably a little bit further behind than the ones that are closest to Philly. We're on that food chain.
What do you mean?
Well, in certain salad zoning items that you find down here, you might not find the same. Might not have a like grade or grading ordinance for a home, single family home. Up there, it's just show them how to put the house on, put the septic distances from the property point, but they'll, down here is a little more comprehensive in terms of stormwater management, those type of fields. And they're a little less informal. I've been to meetings where the guys are in flip-flops and shorts. And we're all around the desk, backside, all of us, on the shoulders. We're not up on beds and it's the tape recorder. And
You would describe yourself as being a person that is very acquainted with the process of being supervisors, commissioners.
yeah, I mean, I have been in Clinton Townships and over in Forks and Plainfield and Lower Nazareth and, from a little 2-lot line subdivision to a 300 unit development. And everyone's different. Some are popular, some aren't popular. Some are contentious, some aren't contentious. And through litigation, for clients that want to push a project through. Is that?
So, how often? Welcome. Thank you for the excellent work you do on this zoning report. You made a statement in your letter that planning should reduce the taxes to raise taxes. Could you please elaborate or give us your thoughts around your statement?
Sure. A lot of people that come to township meetings, someone proposes a 25-unit subdivision or even a 5-unit subdivision. Piece of property, I get a comment quite a bit that she's working the out there at this big cornfield, and that we have enough houses and stuff, we'll probably have enough houses enough for them. We don't want to see any more. It's a lovely thought. At the end of the day, this township doesn't grow anyone because the costs of this township has the burden every year go up, regardless of whether there's a house or not. If you can't offset those costs, the only way to pay for those costs in the future is to raise taxes on the city. So it's a double-edged sword, or you might be able to say to the people, yeah, sure, it would be nice to keep that as a market. But ultimately, 5 years down the road, when we have a stagnant economy, we don't have roads in the county, we're all going to have to pay for the services we like to have. We like to have police force, we like to have parks, we like to have good roads, we like to have garbage service, our water service, and our sewer service. Ultimately, all about money. Bringing residents to the township is not a bad thing. I think the township's pretty ridiculous. I don't necessarily agree. I think there's a right balance between commercial, industrial, and residential growth. Those talk about comprehensive planning and all that, that's what's for. Help us decide what the smart approach should be and how it needs to be limited work. Also,
Okay. So following on from that, so like in your business, which is, for commercial residential development, and actually you're in a business of development, you take the development, all understand the street quality. Where does land preservation preservation or farmland preservation that you believe we need?
Well, I mean, certainly it does fit in with the grand scheme. Which particular farms in South Whitehall, I would look for. I haven't seen a few cases, but you have an area where there's public water available, public sewer available, and that kind of farm that's there. May not be taking a generate income based on farming. Let's face it, you need a lot of land to make money farm. Regardless of whether you're paying taxes on that land or not. That's why there's only a few farmers left around. If it was a farm that had a big swath of river going through it, and there was some wetland, and very little buildable area, farming, let's be preserved. If that was the case, I mean, just for me, you had on the farm.
Okay. From your business standpoint, you know, as an engineer, do you have any past or present relationships like with any of the major landowners or development companies within the township?
At one point in time, relationship, I guess, is a strong word. It could be a client-based relationship. Probably with any of the major players that don't something at all. So
I guess a better word is like,
yes, yes. But engineering is somewhat like plumbing, where the majority of the dollars go to the lowest bidder. So it's not necessarily a friendship business where I'm going to get the same client on every job he does. You know, generally speaking, guys will get out of it. If we're lucky enough to be low bidders, maybe.
right. Okay. So you're familiar with, you know, Salvo from the zoning and what criteria, as a board member here, what criteria would you use for approving or denying a developer request for a waiver, you know, for a business out?
Sorry, that's a question about, you want to say your question? No. All right, we'll say that, there's a 5 minutes to finish your question. So my question, Mark, is, so what do you see, what is your perception, what do you see as the role of a commissioner? And why would you want to be it?
Well, first off, I think the commissioner should be involved in certain things that happen, certain things, and I've done it personally. Whether it's a business I would truly want to see in South Whitehall, I first thank them for thinking of South Whitehall as a place that like to open. Maybe a particular example would be the dollar store and all that, and that's by Super Model. Did I want to see a dollar store there? No. But if it employs 9 people in that neighborhood and it takes a piece of land that was a rotted fence and stone parking lot and makes it look a little bit better and it adds to our local economy, I welcome them with open arms, and of course the citizens on board gate. I think the commissioners are here to foster growth, and these commissioners are here to help the decisions of the township figure out how the township works and answer questions best we can. But I also think there's a long-term goal, and I think that always has to play into what we're doing every time we meet. It's important that the township operates in an efficient manner.
So why, so knowing all that, what is your, why are you interested in doing this?
Well, up until recently, I wasn't all that interested. I was up with the planning commission, frankly. But since the position became vacant prior to my being voted on to the planning commission, the opportunity was there that I felt that they thought the township about this particular instance. So I changed the course.
So if you had to tell me what you think is the most wonderful and unique quality of South Whitehall Township, what would
Oh,
you've been here 40 out of the 60 years.
maybe more. I did do a small stint in California once when I was young and wanted to be Caribbean. I did a couple of years in each place, so for the most part, I think about 48 of my 50 years. Yeah, 42. We have a great balance of retail, park systems, great school district. We have a great, I should say this, like for Iowa in particular, it's so convenient, I think 2370 Turnpike, Illinois.
Location?
Right down here, you're,
Yes, so location.
yeah, fantastic location. Of getting around the back end. It's not, it really has a lot of, I don't know, I talk about revenue.
Yes,
A little less than an hour.
excellent. Thank you. Commissioner Cole?
Well, thank you for being here tonight. You spent meeting with us, answering some questions. I want to go back to the timing of the Dollar General as we look to welcome you to the township. Obviously, still strong studies in there that could be up their stories about, in your opinion, some of the viewpoints on selling or what's your England background, people talk about this. What do you believe would be the present concerns for businesses not choosing here or the ones that are currently here that may have issues? Any insight into that?
Well, I talk to a lot of people that still have to do that Southwest Township, part of the township. We look at business here to build here, going on, building here. So it's that reputation of being a tough place to deal with. I think that's changed a little bit in the last 10 years. I mean, I'm not sure I completely answered the question. You referenced the Dollar General. If there was a vacant piece of land that wasn't zoned correctly, you could do on the zoning board, but of course the board commissioners have a little bit of the way how boss of business. I think every business that comes in is going to have a different feel and a different popularity. That's going to be good. That's going to help dictate what happens. Every job is different. We need to know. We need to know how that works. But the other part store is another example. It's almost a run down gas station, a muscle bar shop, or a farm. And I think it turned out pretty nice, all things considered.
And if you were to be appointed commissioner, what do you see could be your role to help to foster that or change the perception of something that would be much more?
Well, first off, I want to be one on the board. My thing would be the first time. Help us foster a relationship. If you think choosing us, that's who we can be together. But I'm not only buddies up with people. I would certainly open to anything. Depending on what it is. If you have more people that have it, but you're open to something else. The normal person could do.
So Mike, you had mentioned that you did business with some of the local township developers. Do you feel that in making the decision to later on, and people, some people that might come before you. Is that hinder in any way or allow your decision on it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, I don't deal with a lot of municipalities that are business and know what engineering firms do. Obviously, you pick up here, and you have Keystone here, and they operate in the private sector and the municipal sector. I have a very small municipal sector, like two borough site and borough Northampton, where I might have a client come in and I have to now review their time. They get their test, but I can separate a relationship from a client-based relationship to a supervisor-based relationship, or a commission-based relationship, for what's best for the town. But in certain cases, there is a lot of good that can come out of dealing with the developer. And I'll give you an example, perfect one that we got here on all that. When the Hills of Winchester was proposed, which is the Toll Brothers and Campbell site, everybody who lived across the street on Walmart came out and drove about the traffic and the storm operations. And I know firsthand how bad Walmart Avenue could get in a horrendous storm, to the point where my check engine might be mine, and it blew out the entire shoulder of Walmart Avenue all the time. And we kept trying to tell folks that with the development of the Rose property, we're actually going to reduce the amount of water that comes down to Walmart Avenue, and fix Walmart Avenue. And it actually got done. And I've been going on any rainstorm, and I go on Walmart Avenue twice a day, 5 days a week, sometimes more. And in any rainstorm, I can go down there, and there's no water running across Walmart Avenue, flooding the homes in the south. And generally, 80% 55 and older is traffic counts for us. And they turn out to be first class development.
I don't see any kind of development.
That's fair. No, Cedar Hills, yeah.
So where we left off, what criteria would you use to approve or deny a developer request for a waiver?
If it's a normal waiver, one we can find happens quite a bit, just based on how south it is. This one makes sense to I would certainly consider. And waivers are part of development. Sometimes it's just an impossibility to build something about the book. And just because it's in the book doesn't necessarily make it right or wrong. It doesn't have to be a bargaining chip, like certain costs in some cases. In some cases, it just makes sense. Waivers aren't necessarily utilized in the right way.
How about waivers that might have an impact on public?
Well, I've been in this business a long time, even what if that, what if this happens, and what if this happens, and what the helicopter lands in the backyard. Public safety is a very broad term. If I felt that a waiver would result in someone's safety being violated, I would certainly vote for a waiver. But just because somebody calls me to gain a waiver doesn't mean.
Okay, thank you. On audits, it's a Pennsylvania statutory requirement to audit be completed annually. However, the township has not completed an audit for 10 years, although work is in progress to do so. What's your general viewpoint about the situation, and what would you do to ensure that waivers are completed on schedule and future?
What's the financial audits?
I have audits, but I said waiver?
Yeah.
All right, substitute audits for waivers. What would you do to make sure audits are done? Yeah.
I don't have a lot to do it. Or agree. Again, I have information. I'm going to run into the township building stuff for any waivers, right? If they get information, that's what our job. So if it was brought, I would consider like we violated the rule. I'm not doing an audit. I would think that's what we should do.
Anything more probably aware that 2014 township changed zoning to overlay districts, which created the four, sizable developments that we have. Now we're updating the comp plan. We have to consider whether we should employ more overlay districts, in the undeveloped land in the township. Is your view that we should continue to use overlays or cut back on overlays?
I think when the conditions are present, an overlay can be a wonderful zoning. Generally speaking, I believe overlay districts require certain things to be nearby, water, sewer, certain municipal services in order for you to do other than type development. For years, people played with clustered developments and super rural or more space to get a little bit more to yield. I don't think it's a bad thing. And again, I think what you're able to do with overlay was to build a concept. We don't have a lot of big platforms. Obviously, the demand and see they were 50% pre-sold before we started building those. So I think at the end of the day, it's a time and place for overlay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So, Mark, my question is pretty simple. If you were chosen to the appointment for this position of commissioner, it's a short stint, it's a 7-month stint. But what legacy would you like to leave behind? How would you like people? How would you like people to remember you and what you brought to the
Maybe just bring another perspective that 7 months is not a lot of time to accomplish much, especially in engineering. Maybe we could get something more done on a township level in the 7 months, which will help the township operate as efficiently as possible. If I'm being realistic, engineering is a long game, and well, it's a long game, as you can tell with what's going on here now. And when they get submitted, by the time they get approved, it's 2, 3, sometimes 4. I've been in one 20 years in the making. So in the short 7 months, if we can get some things out of the township that people have been planning to get done, we can get done as a group. I'll be able to do more.
Commissioner Cole? Thank you. If you could just follow on Commissioner Ryan's question. Don't get into things that people are planning for. Do you have anything in mind or
No.
that you've heard?
No. To be completely honest, there's a lot of nights where you guys have had meetings that I don't attend, and it's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm probably burned out at the moment. Any given week, I might have 3 or 4 meetings. I've never let my meetings stand in the way of my zoning meetings, and I certainly would want to stand in the way of went that way, but no, I don't listen to. I haven't listened to what the biggest part of the other constituents telling themselves what they do.
Great, thank you. I appreciate your work on the hearing board. I was close to meeting myself and just wanted to ask you, I know, alongside, if you could change one thing in our zoning code, when matters come before you, you'd be frustrated. Is there one that comes to your mind that you wish you could change?
Yeah, I hated the whole front yard. And someone lives either on the corner or has a street in front of them and street back and it's gone. The most ridiculous thing in the world. The front door is the front yard. I don't care if there's a road in the back. You still put a shed back there. That's my opinion. That is one of the ones that boils me away every time it comes to it. 25 minutes of my life on my back. Nor that poor person who had spent like whatever it is, $750 in addition to your shed. I do believe that's something the zoning officer can certainly do on their own. But
to be then the role of, for zoning hearing board communicating with, for example, our community development department to communicate that. I think that's something that we, as we're looking to change our zoning this year, after the top end, I would love to hear that type of feedback.
Well, honestly, we have to get it. It's easy, right? Although I joke that same thing all the time, but I don't think it's thought that I would change the zoning from a one member to something. But we have to put together in a room for zoning. I don't think the last time it was. The last time it was, I think it was partly experience. Yeah, so that was, I don't know.
So, Mark, first of all, thank you so much for being here today. It's been fantastic to chat with you. Do you have any questions for anyone?
No, I understand how this works. If you guys are here to pick up, I'm sure the qualified people understand about the time. And yeah, it's full, so they're all very well qualified. I'm sure you guys will make the right choice. And I'm lucky enough to do that choice. I'll be happy to do it.
Thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. It's still daylight, going to